So she's extremely sweet. She knows how to handle me and calm things down, and I think she's extremely strong person.
Joker, strong-willed, really likes to eat Malay food. Okay, so in the last episode, we talked about all the different kinds of questions that you could possibly ask your candidate. So what happens after you actually find someone that you like? Well, by the second session, your facilitator starts to ask you, so do you think that you can get married to this person? Okay, so you might be thinking, why so fast? Well, there's basically 2 or 3 reasons. First of all, ta'aruf isn't dating, so you're not continuously supposed to look at this person, talk to this person, engage with this person, right? There still has to be a respectable boundary or separation of the sexes. Second one is that actually when you have a proper ta'aruf, the information that you get is almost equivalent to 2 to 3 years of dating. So, if you're dating this person 2 or 3 years, usually you're not talking about the serious stuff, right? You're going on a date, you're having fun, you're having dinner, and then once in a while you'll talk about something serious. So in those 2 to 3 sessions, you actually get all of that stuff out of the way. How many kids you want, where are we gonna live, all these serious things that you need to talk about. So basically, you're just moving everything forward. So now you might ask me, well, what about getting to know about the person's personality, what they like to do outside? What if we don't get along with, how we function outside of this setting? Well, actually, in about 2 to 3 hours, you can get a good sense of the person's personality. I mean, a person can't pretend forever, right? Their personality is gonna come out. And plus, you can do background checks. So that is permissible in Islam. You are supposed to go and do background checks. You're supposed to ask, the people around this person. But do choose someone that's non-partial. So that means you don't go and ask the person's best friend, because obviously they're only going to say good things. You go and ask people like their coworkers, because they're pretty neutral, right? They would be able to give you some feedback. You go and ask the imam of the masjid that they attend. So they would also be kind of neutral. So you do your background checks as much as you can, and once you are satisfied, you really need to take a good, long look at yourself and think deeply whether this is someone that you can get along with for the rest of your life or not. Let's face it, it's still going to be scary. It's still going to be super scary, right? But we have this thing called istikhara in Islam. So the istikhara is the thing that really saves you, right? So whether it's going to go on, whether it's going to stop, then it becomes a matter of what Allah chooses for you. So once you've made your decision, this is really important. A lot of people get this wrong. You make the decision first, you decide first, and then you make the istikhara. If it's made easy, it means that this is the correct way. But if you start having barrier after barrier, then it means that probably you shouldn't go forward. Okay, so istikhara is super important. I would definitely say that that's the secret sauce to all of this. Make istikhara every step of the way, but especially before you say I do.
Yeah, I know you can hear.
I'm laughing. This is comedy, see?
Oh, let me see. If I can remember correctly, obviously very nervous, nerve-wracking, a little bit exciting because it was my first time doing ta'aruf. I went and spent some time studying and reading and wondering, all that coming together like into a boiling pot. You like all these emotions coming together lah. I think the ta'aruf went well. And I was told by some other brothers like, oh yeah, ta'aruf will last 45 minutes, 1 hour, right? So we went 3 hours and we connected in many areas. So I was like, oh my God, are we going to continue this? And I came in and more like just to test and just to experience, right? Part of me was like, oh no, it might be continuing and it might be something that might work out. I was a bit nervous as well. Yes, I did. Obviously, I seek for some advice from some other brothers who done ta'aruf before, and also the facilitator as well. Obviously got advice from them because obviously they've done ta'aruf. My strategy was at first very light-hearted questions, very easy questions, nothing too serious. Break the ice, get comfortable first, and then only go into the serious question, life question, deal breakers. I think that's why our facilitators, after maybe half an hour, like, okay guys, get serious. Start talking about things that matter. Tapi macho lah, to be like, yes. Tapi in height lah. Definitely not after the first ta'aruf, but maybe after the second ta'aruf. I had a lot of prayer, istikharah and everything during our engagement period lah. I can't remember, but there's one point I'm like, okay, I think this, it feels right, and then I felt confident in terms of moving forward and felt that she was the one. No, I didn't feel that, to be honest. I think primarily because we went to the same madrasah and we kind of follow the same Islamic principles and way of life, so that didn't really bother me so much lah. One thing no lah, I think pretty much uncovered a lot of things during the ta'aruf and also the khitbah, right? I mean, talk about the engagement. We got to communicate a little bit more, obviously with chaperone as well. So I kind of knew she would be a bit OCD and things like that, right? I can't think of any right now. Yeah, I think as you get married, then you get into each other, you know each other more, right? Okay, so she's extremely sweet. She knows how to handle me and calm things down, and I think she's extremely strong person. I love you, sweetie! I take a lot of pleasure irritating her lah, so.
No rendang for you, it's hard to make. I guess no big expectations, just that I was hoping that it would be well structured, that the facilitators would really help us to talk about whatever needed to be talked about. I had actually done another ta'aruf with the same facilitators before, a very short one, but I knew that they were good. It's just the first one was a very different experience. I mean, we didn't end up continuing for obvious reasons. I wasn't expecting much. I was just expecting that it would be well structured and I would be protected, of course, because I tend to get really turned off when the guy starts to say something like, "Oh, you're pretty in real life," or say something like probably they think would be flattering, but for me it's like, no, you do that now, what are you gonna do later? I guess okay. I mean, my take on it was that I go in and see what's wrong with him and I say no. When I went in, he was okay. We talked more than I expected and I was more weirded out than I expected. I mean, I laughed for a good 15 minutes and I made him laugh for a good 15 minutes until we got scolded. I thought that we talked a lot and I thought that was a good sign. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, like I said, my strategy was just for everything, I guess, for my mentality going to ta'aruf was that, okay, whoever I'm going to marry has to, not have like things that I cannot accept. So I would go in thinking, okay, if there's something that comes up that is like wrong with him or I can't accept, I just need to just find that one no, then I can just say no to the whole thing. But yeah, so with Zaf, after the first one and the second one, I couldn't find something to say no to, so then I was a little bit stuck. Basically, I did this because I was so weirded out and shy. So I think this says it all. It's just like, oh my God, this is so weird. Never. I was never certain. I was pushed. My facilitator was like, so you want to marry him? Isn't it time? Don't you know him enough? And I'm like, no, I don't know him enough. I met him twice. And I was actually overseas when she was like, encouraging me. Finally, she was like, he's a good guy, just marry him. And I was like fed up. So I was like, fine, I'll just marry him. So, but if sure, I think I wasn't ever sure. But alhamdulillah, I made istikharah. So whatever the outcome is, I know that it's guided by Allah. I guess I should have been more worried, but because I was living in America and at that time I lived in a town that had many, many different types of people. I've also lived with host families. I've lived with an Irish family, with a Japanese family. I've lived with an Italian family. So fitting into different cultures wasn't really an issue to me. That was very different than getting married into a different culture. So maybe I should have been more worried, but I wasn't. Okay, joker, strong-willed, and really likes to eat Malay food. He likes to tickle, which I hate. I would have liked to know that. Okay, so what I'd like to say to Zaf, now that he's not listening to me, is that I appreciate everything that he's done. He's really provided a nice home and taken care of my daily needs, but stop tickling me, because I hate it. Okay, so basically the things that you need to remember are, number one, does this person meet your minimum requirements? Everything else is a bonus. Number 2, do they have anything that you absolutely can't stand, that you just can't accept? And number 3, are you willing to make it work with this person? Okay, after all those things have been thought about, then you can go ahead and make your decision. So remember that Ta'aruf is not a fail-safe process. We are still human. We will still make mistakes. So we are going to forget, things that we wanted to ask. We're going to miss out things, and there will be times even once you've already gotten married where you feel like, oh wow, this is new. I didn't know about this person when we were going through Ta'aruf. But just remember that we do have a very good system in Islam. We have istikhara, and istikhara is the thing that puts everything in Allah's hands. Allah's blessing will be there if you are able to move through, and if He decides that it's not for you, then barriers will be there. Just look out for them so that you don't fall into the wrong marriage, inshallah. Not to say that everything will always be rosy, but inshallah, this whole process protects the heart, it protects the two people, and it is a process that is approved in the Sunnah and the Quran. So definitely have a good think about it, go through the process, see what you think, and inshallah, maybe you'll just say I do. Hi, I'm Aliza Kim.
Hi, I'm Zaf.
Now, if you enjoyed this content, don't forget to
Like,
comment,
share,
and most importantly, subscribe to My Salam Muslim. Bye!